A name once feared, now debated all over again, and the fandom. They're divided. Some say it's blasphemy. Others say it's evolution. But for millions who grew up watching the boy who lived fight he who must not be named, this isn't just reboot drama. This is personal. It all began with a leak. A quiet offhand mention buried in a casting rumor. It wasn't even confirmed, just hinted. A reimagined villain, gender-flipped. Speculation surged like wildfire, faster than a golden snitch in flight. Fans zoomed in on production documents, screenwriter discussions, even casting calls, all hunting for a clue. And then someone said it outright. A powerful, enigmatic dark witch set to play a central villain in the new adaptation of Harry Potter. The internet didn't need much more than that. The idea? Voldemort, once played with chilling mastery by Ralph Fiennes, reborn as a woman in a darker, deeper retelling of the Harry Potter saga. Not a clone. Not a sister. A full character reboot in form, in energy, in presence to longtime fans. It felt like the wand had snapped in two. Cut to fan reactions, Twitter screenshots, TikTok duets. YouTube comment floods the tone, becoming unmistakable rage. Don't rewrite my childhood. Voldemort is not a woman. End of story. This is forced diversity, and it's insulting. Hollywood's out of ideas. But deeper in the shadows of this outrage was something more complex. Because some weren't just angry. They were hurt to them. The original Voldemort, cold, cruel, calculated, was the very essence of what made Rowling's universe terrifying. He wasn't just the villain. He was the fear, the consequence. The reminder that unchecked power corrupts absolutely. To reimagine him, her, felt like erasing a perfectly drawn evil. A villain so iconic, his very name became a culture-wide taboo. Still, for others, this was long overdue. Why can't a woman be that powerful? Why does evil always have to be male-coded? This could take the story to places we've never seen before. And there's truth in that. Because history, both magical and real, often forgets the dark women. The dangerous ones, the ones who burn not because they were evil, but because the world fears their power. What if a female Voldemort isn't a betrayal of canon, but a bold exploration of how evil seduces differently depending on who society allows to wield it? Imagine a face just as pale, eyes just as piercing, but a villain who doesn't shout to conquer, who whispers, who manipulates, whose rise to power isn't about brute force, but psychological mastery. Would that unsettle us more? Or is that the real reason for the backlash? Because when a villain shifts, our childhood safety nets do too. Stories we believed were anchored in stone suddenly float into new territory. Maybe we're not angry that Voldemort is female. Maybe we're just terrified of letting the past go. Still, there's another layer. J.K. Rowling herself, no matter where you stand. Her public views in recent years have already fractured the fandom. So when rumors of major creative changes in the new HBO reboot surfaced, fans weren't just raising wands. They were raising eyebrows. Is this reboot really about bold storytelling? Or is it an attempt to modernize a world increasingly criticized for its lack of inclusivity? Does Voldemort becoming a woman feel authentic to the lore? Or like a studio's attempt to tick a box? These are not hollow questions. These are emotional questions, because Harry Potter was never just a story. It was a lifeline. For kids who felt invisible. For teens who felt different. For adults who never forgot the first time they heard, "You're a wizard." Harry. So when changes come, big or small, the pushback is inevitable. Yet history tells us something strange. When Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker, fans raged. When Daniel Craig became Bond, people said he was too rough. When Zendaya was cast as MJ, the internet broke. But in the end, greatness won. Could this be the same? There's already talk of who might take the role. A-list actresses. Fresh faces. One name floated is a classically trained stage actress with piercing green eyes and a smirk that can harden into ice. No confirmation yet, but the very image of her in dark robes, wand in hand, hair slicked back in a twisted modern take of the Dark Lord. Well, it haunts you, doesn't it? Because maybe our stories aren't dying when they evolve. Maybe they're proving they still matter because of how deeply we feel when they change. Yes, some fans are furious. Petitions are circulating. Hashtags trending. And maybe the studio will course correct. But maybe, just maybe, this rage is what? Every powerful story invites debate, emotion, ownership. Because stories that belong to everyone will always be fought for. And that's the magic of Harry Potter. It's not just a tale locked inside 7 books. It's a world opened by every person who dared to read it and believe. A new Voldemort female. Male, young, old, doesn't erase what came before. Just as Dumbledore's secrets didn't erase his wisdom. Just as Snape's cruelty didn't negate his love. This new iteration might not be the one you wanted, but it could be the one that makes you feel something again. Horror, curiosity, anger, awe, and isn't that what Voldemort was always meant to do? He was fear, living, breathing fear. And if fear can now wear a different face, maybe that's a story worth telling. Because no matter what form evil takes, what truly matters is who dares to fight it. And somewhere, whether in a dorm room or a Diagon Alley gift shop, a young fan is waiting to see their version of the Dark Lord or Dark Lady. The robes may fit differently. The voice may strike a new chord, but the magic is still there.